Hello everybody, my name is Punarvas Jaikumar. I am a chartered accountant, passionate trainer. I have trained over 15,000 CA students in a career spanning of over 10 years. I am extremely excited and fortunate to be partnering with an academy for CA Foundation, and I'll be handling business laws and BCR paper. So my dear friends, if you want any sort of updates, anything for that matter, I would strongly suggest you right now go and download the Unacademy app. Just go to Play Store, just type Unacademy and you will get Unacademy learning app and you can just install the same. And if you want any kind of updates, notes, tips, audio tips, video tips, etc., please join my exclusive Unacademy Law channel. It's called PJ Law. Go to t.me/PJ Law and it'll take you right to my channel and you can enjoy important notes, audio clips, video clips, etc. And guys, we also have our exclusive CA Foundation English channel where all the educators and learners come together. This is exclusive English channel, so please join our Telegram channel CA Foundation English as well. My dear friends, an exciting announcement. We have already started the CA Warrior batch. This is a fast track batch for CA Foundation December 21 examination. It is going to be exclusively in English. We have already started. Paper 2 will be handled by me, Punarvas Jaikumar, and the quant portion will be handled by my very good friend and a co-educator, CA Neeraj Mahajan sir. You're gonna love his classes. So we will cover very all important topics, and in law we'll cover everything exhaustively, and BCR will do a quick revision. PDF notes will be shared. So as far as law is concerned, it's gonna be from August 18 to maybe, since now exam has been postponed to December, we'll also have it in the October first week or something. And exhaustive analysis of paper number 2. Live classes, guys. It's not recorded. Live classes. There will be quizzes, there will be doubt solving sessions, and unlimited access. You can watch it anytime, anywhere apart from live. I will also discuss the presentation techniques. I'll also give you revision notes, Q&A notes, and specially curated handcrafted color charts for one day before the exam revision. It is going to be almost 60 plus hours. Sir, I also want to check some demo classes if you feel like that. Guys, these classes are on Unacademy Plus. So unless you have a subscription of Unacademy Plus or Unacademy Iconic, you cannot access these classes. Alright. However, if you want some other revision classes, free classes, if you want free sessions, please download the Unacademy app. Go to the special classes section. Get access to our free special classes by various amazing educators, and you will also earn credits while you watch them. So please check out the free special classes option. On that note, my dear friends, let us begin today's session. So guys, as part of the Chartopedia series, let's continue our discussion, shall we? So in the last Chartopedia series for Indian Partnership Act, what had we done? We had understood the various relation of partners to one another. We had understood the general duties of partner, the concept of duty to indemnify the other partner for loss, determination of the rights and duties we had done, conduct of the business, how a business has to be conducted, that he has a right to take part in the business. So every partner would be an active partner, otherwise, unless otherwise mentioned, right to be consulted, then right to access the books, right of legal representatives, legal hair, and all these things. Mutual rights and duties also we had done as per section number 13. So today, my dear friends, let us go into a nice concept called as partnership property. What exactly is partnership property? I have a laptop which I use it in business. Is that partnership property? In the sense, I have bought from my own personal money, I use it in business. Is it partnership property? Question number 1. I have a car which I have bought a car. I'm using that car in business. Is it partnership property? What exactly would be partnership property? Is it the assets that we have already there in the firm, or is it the assets that I bring into the firm? What exactly would be partnership property? So to understand that, let's see. Partnership property is the property of the firm as per section 14. It is also called as partnership property, partnership asset, joint stock, common seal, whatever it, common stock, sorry, or joint estate. So what do you mean? You can give any nomenclature, name does not matter. It can be partnership property, partnership asset, joint stock, common stock, joint estate, all these things. Apart from that, is there anything else? It includes all the property. Second, all the property, all the rights, all the interests to which the firm may be entitled to. Right? All the property, all the rights, all the interests to which the firm may be entitled. It includes all the property which is the firm has acquired by purchase or otherwise by or the firm. Also, it includes goodwill. So, what is goodwill? Goodwill is the value of the reputation of the business. It can be sold separately also later. I can set aside the goodwill separately and sell it. So guys, it is all the property that is initially brought in as capital. So the partners may bring in some, what do you say, building probably as a capital, that is included. Second, includes all the property acquired by way of purchase or otherwise. So during the course of the business, if they include certain property, that also is partnership property. It includes goodwill. Goodwill is the value of the reputation of a business house. So it includes goodwill also. So goodwill also can be taken into account. It can be sold separately also, my dear friends, or it can be sold along with other property. So all this will be called as partnership property. Very simple. Whether a particular property is called as partnership property or not depends on the intention and agreement of the partners. Each and every partner, they should agree to do so, intention. And intention must be very clear, and also there has to be a proper agreement. Partners may by agreement convert the property of any partner into a partnership property. So you may convert anything into a partnership property. So for example, if I am bringing in a car or a laptop, as I told you, I can make it a partnership property. I can keep it, I can make it, I can remain it like that, can be remaining like that, or I can make it a partnership property. How do I make it a partnership property? I can very simply include that in the entire partnership deed. So can I have an addendum to the partnership deed? Yes. Can an addendum be simply in the form of a mail also if need be? Yes. So if I want to intend to bring my car into the partnership property, I can make it a partnership property, one thing. Anything that I do, anything that I intend is called as partnership property. So it can be, for example, my laptop. I have bought, let's say, a 2 lakh rupees laptop. I am using it for my personal place also, for my business also. Now, can I bring this into the business, my dear friends? Yes. When I bring it into the business, can other partners also do so? Can other partners also do so? 100% yes. Even other partners can enjoy this entire thing. Not only me, but also other partners. So I can also do it. Other partners also can enjoy the entire laptop. This seems to be the idea. So basically there was one case law, B.V. Suguna and Sons. In that what had happened was, not only the partners, they had their own assets in the firm, but also they had also brought in some assets into the firm. But the law said very clearly that no, partnership property is not just what you brought in, boss, or what, not just what you have to bought, but also if you are using something that is your personal private property. If you are using some asset in the firm, but it's your personal asset, that still remains a personal asset. When will I bring it into the entire partnership agreement? Or when will I bring it into the partnership? Only when you have an intention to make it a partnership property. So the intention is supreme here, my dear friends. So the property of a partner, the property of the partner, specifically if it belongs to a partner and it is used in business, such property does not belong to the partnership merely for this reason, unless there is an agreement. If there is an agreement, then yeah. There is no agreement, then no problem. Nothing can be done. Application of the property of the firm. How will I apply, my dear? How will I apply this entire thing? Subject to the contract, the property of the firm shall be used by the partners exclusively for business. Yes, as I told you, if it's my own property, I can use it both ways, but if it's my own property and I'm bringing it into the partnership firm, then it has to be used only and only exclusively for the business of the firm. During the subsistence of partnership, no particular partner has any proprietary interest in the assets of the firm. During the subsistence of partnership, no particular partner has any proprietary interest. Proprietary means ownership. No person has any ownership interest. Every partner has a right to have his share of profits without fail and a right to see that all the assets and liabilities, etc., and especially the assets of the partnership firm are applied to this particular purpose of business. So that definitely he can ensure that it is only used for the business as such. What about the personal profits earned by partners? What about the personal profits earned by partners? Will it be counted? Will it not be counted? Sir, what do you mean by personal profits earned by partners? Let us take an example. राहुल, नाम तो सुना ही होगा. राहुल, अंजलि, Raj. These three people are partners in the business. Let's say they are into training business for CA students. Raj is a faculty of law, right? So now one day there is a parent teacher meeting that comes. So parent will come. Mummy and child. Ting. He's doing CA, guys. Don't judge. Sir, what is this drawing, sir? Kindly adjust. So they'll say this, you are doing really well. I have a college. This father has one own college. He tells Raj, why don't you come teach there also? How did I get to know about this? How did Raj get to know about this entire college, guys? Only using the business connection of the firm. He is teaching law here. He has been asked to teach law here also. Correct? He is teaching law here. He has been asked to teach law here also. He is asked to teach law both ways. So guys, here, competing business first of all. First of all, competing business. And second of all, what is this? I use the business connection of the firm. I use the business connection of the firm. Second, one more example. One more parent comes. This parent says, sir, I heard you are a consultant also in law. I need some consultancy services. I want you to open my company. So please help me in opening my company. I said, okay. So I help in opening the company, that is incorporation. I help in opening the company, that is incorporation. Right? Guys, again I am using the business connection of the firm. Is it competing business? Non-competing business. Non-competing business. Why? One, here I am into teaching, here I am doing consultancy. In the first case, I am using the business connection of the firm and using competing business. In both the cases I am teaching. In the second case, in first I am using business connection and it's a non-competing business. Here let us say I will earn around 5 lakh rupees, assume here I am earning around 2 lakh rupees. The question is very simple, my dear friends. Should I share 7 lakh rupees with the firm? Personal profit, should it be shared? That is the moot question. Should I share the personal profit? So you see, should I share the personal profit? Check it out. Subject to the contract between the partners, if a partner derives any profit from any transaction of the firm, from the use of any property of the firm, use of business connection of the firm, or use of the firm's name, partner must account for the same and partner must pay to the firm. Partner must account for it and partner must pay it. So should I do it, my dear friends? Yes, not only should I account for it, and I should also pay it to the firm. So when the partner carries on competing business, he must account for it and pay to the firm all the profits made by him in the business. Everything he has to pay. I should pay for the account and pay it to the firm as well. Guys, but this is subject to the contract. So if partnership deed is silent, if partnership deed is silent, then I need to account for it and pay. But you may say, sir, it is very, very unfair. My efforts, I went and taught there. Raj will tell, I went and taught there. My hardcore efforts, why should the firm be paid? I will not allow the firm to be paid like that. In that case, always better to have a partnership deed. Partnership deed can tell what to do, what not to do. Very, very simple. Right? Partnership deed can tell what to do, what not to do. Partnership deed can tell, okay, I don't want to share. So don't share, no problem. Right? Next. Rights and duties of partners after a change in the firm. After a change in the firm. A change in the constitution of the firm may occur in the following ways. What? New partner comes in. Death or retirement of a partner, obviously. Partnership is carried on business other than for which it was originally framed, for other business. Partnership is carried on beyond the expiry date, that is beyond the fixed term. Can I extend it beyond the fixed term if I want to? Yes. Partnership is carried on other than the business for which it was originally framed. Death or retirement of partner? Yes. New partner is coming in? Yes. In all these things, guys, what happens to the mutual rights and duties? Mind you, mutual rights and duties can be understood by the partners. How? Through an agreement where all of them agree to do certain things. So subject to the contract, there can be a change in the firm, there need not be a change in the firm, there can be additional undertaking, whatever the case may be, mutual rights and duties to remain the same as they were there before. There is no change in the rights and duties. There is no change with respect to the partnership property, there is no change with respect to the partnership share, nothing. After the expiry of the term, the mutual rights and duties to remain the same as it was there before, and any additional undertakings if you carry out, it shall be carried out as per the original undertakings. There is absolutely no change is what section 17 is all talking about. So guys, you have to download the Unacademy app because we have excellent packages for you, and also you please download my Telegram channel as well, PJ Law. It will really help you because I will be giving you a lot of notes. So next in the chart mechanism would be the concept of implied authority. But before that, what did I tell you? So guys, what are you waiting for? Step number 1, go to Unacademy Learning app. Step number 2, hit install. That's it. That's all you need to do. And go to CA Foundation Plus and check out these 2 subscription plans, Plus and Iconic. I told you the difference. My personal suggestion would be go with the 24 months plan. Why? I'll tell you why. Because with the Iconic subscription, you will get 12 months. There is a combo, guys. CA Foundation and Intermediate. 12 months combo, 24 months combo. If you take the 24 months combo, the good thing is you'll also get time to study intermediate also. So we have the CA Foundation and Inter combo both in Plus as well as Iconic. And dear friends, there is something called as Unacademy Combat Scholarship Test every Sunday at 12 p.m. Participate in the quiz, and if you get good results, if your rank is 1 to 3, then 4 to 10, 11 to 50 and 51 to 200, amazing scholarships. You're getting 50% off, 25% off. Enroll now. The code would be PJ Sir Law. And dear friends, if you go to my channel on Unacademy, I'll tell you more about it. Before that, as I told you, limited time offer. If you buy for 12 months, you'll get 2 months free. Same for both the Iconic and the Plus subscription. But I would request you go for the 24 months plan, because you'll get not only foundation, but also time to finish your CA Inter. Please, please, please guys, follow me on unacademy.com/Punarvas Jaikumar. Please do that. Please follow me. It will help me also. And you obviously can check out all the special classes that I've released. Bind a partner. So authority means what? Capacity to bind. So if he does something, that will lead to binding. Now the authority is of two types, guys. One is express authority. One more is implied authority. What is express authority? Express authority is something that is given to the partner expressly through a partnership deed. So whenever I say authority of a partner, it is his actions, will it bind the partner? So authority of a partner, the question that we have to ask is whether his actions will bind the partner. Whether his actions will bind the partner is what we have to see. Then there has to be a capacity to bind. So that capacity to bind can be either express or it can be implied. Express means what, guys? It will be expressly given by a partnership deed. Implied means what? It is not given in the partnership deed. As simple as that. The express authority, section 11, absolutely no problem. What does it say? It says conferred on a partner by mutual agreement. Basically in the partnership deed they will say, Mr. A, you will get power number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mr. B, you will get powers number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chapter close. Express authority. Are you getting my point? That is the thing. Authority of a partner can be express or implied. Express means what? Conferred on a partner by mutual agreement. Agreement may be oral or written. Many of the agreements can be oral agreements, guys. One thing we need to understand, that law also takes care of all your oral arrangements. Law recognizes oral arrangements, just that it becomes very difficult to prove it in the court of law. But technically, law also includes the oral arrangements also, not at all a problem. So my dear friends, it can be conferred on a partner by what? Mutual agreement, or agreement may be oral or written. It can also be implied by a course of dealing. So this is your customary practices. Since 30 years, a partnership firm, the main partner, Mr. A, has been getting salary every year, every month for around 15,000 rupees, let's say. It has become a custom, it has become a tradition. Does law recognize tradition also in Indian Partnership Act? The answer is yes. Because it says it is expressly given how? By a course of dealing. So this is not very relevant for the exam, but you should also understand that it is a customary practice in our country to follow certain customs and traditions, and that also will be part of the law. Very much part of the legislation, right? Now, anyway, coming to express authority, buddies, there are two types. One is conferred on a partner by mutual agreement. One more is what? Agreement may be oral or written. Did you get this part? Yes or no? Express authority, is it clear? Come on, buddies, yes or no? Just come on, interact with me, say yes, no, whatever. Did you understand the express authority? Because now we are diving into implied authority. Come on, chat with me, buddies, come on. I'm waiting. Got it, got it, got it. Good. 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 Now, coming to implied authority. Let's see implied authority.
Implied authority means what, guys? Where there is no agreement. When there is no agreement, or when the partnership agreement is silent. Right? This is what, guys? Express authority, where it has been given in the partnership deed. Mr. A, your power is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mr. B, your power is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Expressly given, no tension. Implied authority is what? Where partnership deed is silent. Or there is no partnership deed only. Then what? Law steps in. And law presumes certain power to be exercised. So law only will give some assumptions. Law will give assumptions. If you are a partner, you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you are a partner, you cannot do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So law will give certain presumptions. So implied authority is given under section 19, where law is telling what you cannot do. Law specifies what you cannot do as a partner. Friends, today in my Telegram channel, I have already given the question and answers of Partnership Act. All the previous question and answers. So some of them definitely we will solve today after finishing this particular chapter. Okay. So we will definitely solve Q&A. Got it? So law specifies what you cannot do. Express authority, we know. Implied authority, the thing is, law only is assuming, especially when there is no agreement or when the partnership agreement is silent, law is presuming that, okay, these are the things that you cannot do. My revision classes are like your in-depth regular classes only, honestly speaking, because my regular in-depth classes are something different. So do not worry. Exhaustively we are covering so that for your exam it will be very, very simple. Even my CA final marathon, I had recorded almost around 11 hours. Students, after seeing that, they said, sir, it's like studying the regular batch only. So then I said, you come to the regular batch, then it's a different thing altogether. Right? So my regular batch is double of this. So where we'll go to the Bayer Act and understand each and everything. For you, it is not needed. Don't worry. You're writing in July, no problem. Okay? So some of you may have maybe thinking that this fellow is doing crash course or regular batch. Full doubt. This is a crash course. My regular batch is something different. Okay, don't worry. Because yesterday 3-4 people had messaged me personally to ask, sir, is it regular batch or fast track? Full doubt, sir. We have seen fast track batches, full express. I am not like that. That's why 30 hours I am giving you. Correct? Yes, Setu, definitely. Yeah. So if you see, law presumes certain power to be. So you need some time to get adjusted to my my methodology. Okay, don't worry. But my thing is, when you are sitting in the examination, everything you should write. Simple. Yes. So law presumes certain powers to be exercised. So where there is no agreement or where the partnership agreement is silent, law assumes certain things. Okay. Now this is the main thing. This is the dialogue. Act of a partner which is done to carry on in the usual way. Business of the kind carried on by the firm binds the firm. So there are some things that we need to understand here. Keywords. 1. Act of the partner. Act of the partner which is done to carry on what? In the usual way. Business of the kind carried on by the firm binds the firm. So here I need to understand what do you mean by act of a partner or act of the firm. I need to understand what do you mean by usual way, and I need to understand what does it bind the firm. Presenting the answers, Richa, I will tell you after the session is over, right? I will show you the question paper and tell you how to write. Yes. Now, in order to bind the firm, any act done or instrument executed will be, if it is done in the firm's name, then it will bind the firm. So guys, what we need to understand are 3 items. One is, what do you mean by act of the firm? That we will explain. Second is, what do you mean by the act must relate to the normal business? Third, it should be done in the usual way. Third one, it should bind the firm. Everything I'll explain with examples, right? So first of all, what is an act of the firm? What is an act of the firm? So we'll just write down these things. Okay. After that we'll write. This is the definition. Okay. But I'll give you an example. Do you mind if I take your names only? It will be fun. Do you mind? Yes or no? Otherwise I'll take some random names. Yesterday we had fun, right? Do you mind if I take your names? Yes, no? Since you guys are here, I can probably use... Do you mind or you don't mind? That's what I'm asking. So when you say yes, I don't know. So can I use your name? Can I use your name then? Yes. Cool. Super. So let's see. Fine. Sandeep. We'll take Sandeep. You don't mind. Cool. Lingo also says you can do it. Fine, fine. Cool, cool. Great. Thank you so much. So Sandeep, right? Sandeep is a partner. Dinesh is a partner. And let's say Gayatri. I'm just seeing whoever killed your name. Gayatri is a partner. Very simple. So 3 partners are there. SDG is the partnership firm name. So Sandeep, Dinesh, my amazing, it started my Picasso level painting. Gayatri. Assume guys, these are you, okay, don't mind. So these 3 people are the partners of this firm. Now, there are 2 third parties, okay. One is, let's say Richa is a third party to the firm. This is a firm, basically. They also appoint, apart from the partners, they also appoint, let's say, Lingu as an agent. So Lingo is an agent here, full. Let's draw Lingo here. Full. See, smart agent. Like James Bond, right? He is the agent. They tell him, you do whatever you want, no problem. Correct? You enter into contracts on behalf of the firm. So this is SDG and here Mr. L. You can enter into contracts on behalf of the firm. So one we have Richa and the other we have Dviti, let's say. So Richa also enters into a contract with Richa. Let's do fringe and all that. Richa will have fringes. Right? Richa is one third party. Right? She is one third party and Diti is the other third party, right? We'll draw her also. For her we'll give some bob cut. Don't mind, okay? Just for fun I'm doing. You have to make it funny, no? Right? Don't mind. Alright? Yeah, so basically that's the thing guys. So full. Basically now ultimately what happens? Everyone is Dracula only. I'll make everybody Dracula. It will be funnier. So this is one Dracula company. Everybody is Dracula. Let's make her also. You Richa will be bigger Dracula. We'll make one big Dracula. I'll tell you why she's Dracula. Right? Now what happens? This is the thing. All these people are there. Now this guy, he will go to. So first, Richa has purchased some goods. Richa has purchased some goods from Lingu. Right? Richa has purchased some goods from Lingu. Fair enough. Now she has to pay money. Money, is it paid or not? We'll see. Right? Next. Dinesh purchases goods from Dviti. And of course, the firm has to pay now to Dviti. Very, very simple, yes or no? Yeah. So if you see, Richa has to definitely buy the goods. She has bought the goods, she has to pay money to Lingo because Lingo is the agent. Dviti on the other hand has directly sold it to Dinesh, and they have to receive money now, as simple as that. Question is, guys, very simple. Richa does not pay, that's why she is Dracula. Similarly, here Dinesh does not pay. If Dinesh does not pay, can Dviti sue the firm is the question. Can she sue everybody? Can she sue Sandeep, Gayatri and Dinesh? What do you think? Yes. Can Dviti sue SDG? Can Dviti sue SDG? Yes, that's a question. What about you, Dviti? Do you think you can sue? Oh, yes, you can. Correct. The answer is yes. On the other hand, Richa does not pay. Can SDG, by listening to Lingu, can they sue Richa? Yes, very simple. Now, they purchase the goods, na? They purchase the goods. Let me make it smaller. Yeah. They purchase the goods here, right? Purchase the goods here. When they purchase the goods, this is called as, guys, I'll make a different color maybe. This is called as act of the firm. When they purchase the goods, this is called act of the firm. Right? Purchasing. It's purchasing, doing something. Here, not paying money, Dinesh not paying money is what it can be called as omission. Omission means not doing something. Omission is not doing something. On the other hand here, Dviti is suing SDG. So she is going against the firm, or firm is going against her? She is going against the firm. So she has a right now to sue against the firm. Against the firm, very, very simple. She has the right to sue against the firm, no tension. On the other hand, here SDG can sue Richa through Lingo agent, no problem. This is what? Right to sue by the firm against a third party. Right of third party against the firm. This is Dviti suing SDG. Whereas this is what? Right of firm to sue by the firm against third party. Is it fair enough? Third party. Now this you can either do it individually through the partners, or you can do through the agent. So guys, the act of buying the goods in my example here was act of the firm. By not paying also it is called omission. Omission is also an act. By not doing something also it's called an act of the firm. You did something. What did you do? You did not pay. That is also doing something. Then done by whom? Either any of the partners, or done by all the partners, or even agent of the partner who is authorized, which gives rise to a right either against the firm, or it gives rise to a right by the firm. That itself is called as act of the firm. Now if you see the definition, guys, you will understand. Act of the firm means any act or omission. by all the partners, by any of the partners, all the partners, SDG, any of the partner, Dinesh, or agent, Lingu, specifically authorized, which gives rise to a right enforceable by the firm or against the firm. Did you guys understand? This is called as act of the firm. This is called as act of the firm. An act of the firm means any act or omission by all the partners or any of the partners or agent specifically authorized, which gives rise to a right enforceable by the firm or against the firm. Is it clear? So every day please attend the live session, because the feeling of live session only is completely different. I can interact with you every day. You can watch it later also, no problem. That's only for revision. But here you should attend live with me every single day. As I told you, you give me time, I will give. And also I am planning to, after probably next week, I'll take double sessions to complete it early. Yes or no? I will take double sessions to complete it early so that we can finish it off by 20th. Yes or no? Are you with me? Maybe 1.5 hours, 2 hours extra, maybe like 2 to 4 or something, right? So that you can get over by 28th, 21st, by or against the firm. Attend live, buddies. It will really help you. You will get a different feel of it because you are studying with me. When I have come today, despite having fever, I am sure you can also do it, right? But take care of your health. It's very important, right? All right. All of us are here for you. Don't worry. So guys, if you see, this is the act of the firm. So act of the firm is what? Doing something that is act or omission by all the partners or any of the partners, and also agent specifically authorized by, which gives rise to a right enforceable by the firm or gives rise to a right enforceable against the firm. Very simple. So we understood this act of the firm. So ultimately guys, if all the three conditions are satisfied, I had Setu, thank you, I had water. If all the three conditions are satisfied, then it means it is within the implied authority and firm is liable. If all the three conditions are satisfied, then it means, that is bind the firm means in the name of the firm. So what are the three conditions? First of all, it should be normal business. Second, done in the usual way. Third, done in the name of the firm. So guys, if all the three conditions are satisfied, then firm is liable. Even if one condition is not satisfied, firm is not liable. Right? Even if one condition is not satisfied, firm is not liable. If all the three conditions are satisfied, firm is liable. Normal business, usual way, name of the firm. Normal business, usual way, name of the firm. Even if one condition is not satisfied, firm is not liable. Done? We'll explain with examples. Check it out. Now you see, Z, a partner of a firm dealing in ready-made garments, places an order for liquor. You are dealing in garments, now you are going spiritual activity. Worth 50,000 rupees in the firm's name. Is the firm bound? All the three questions must be answered. First one, is it the usual way? Usual way means you generally order during the day. Okay, you have ordered during the day. Have you done in the name of the firm? Yes. First one, is it the normal business of the firm, guys? A ready-made garment place, is it the normal business to order liquor? What do you think? Is it? No. So what? Is the firm bound by it? No. Because for the firm to be bound by it, all the conditions must be satisfied. For the firm to be bound by it, all the conditions must be satisfied. In this given question, first condition only is not satisfied. Normal business of the firm. Hence, firm is not bound. Firm is not bound. Very, very simple, right? Like that. All the three conditions, these conditions that I have written down, all the three should be followed. Normal business, usual way, name of the firm. Here. Next. Done in M. Mr. A being a partner in a firm of solicitor and attorney draws a bill of exchange in the name of the firm without authority. If you are a partner in a firm of solicitor and attorney, means lawyer. In a law firm, you are drawing check, etc. And that too you are doing it without authority. Tell me one thing. Is it the usual way to draw checks in a firm of solicitors? See, if this was to be, let's say, a banking firm, if this was to be a banking partnership firm, then of course, drawing checks, negotiable instruments, etc. is valid. But if you are a law firm, what business do you have as a law firm to actually sit and draw checks? And that too without authority. Only a managing partner can do all these things. So this guy doesn't have the authority to do it. So in this case, without authority, if you do, will the other partners be liable? Answer is definitely not. Firm is not bound. Since this is a law firm. Same question, if it was a banking partnership firm, then definitely other partners would be liable. If this was a banking partnership firm, then other partners would be liable. Yes, Dinesh Babu, you are right. Other partners are not liable because A is drawn the bill of exchange is beyond the authority of the partners. 100% yes. 100% yes. Third one. Whatever you do, it should be done in the name of the firm. So A and B are partners in a stationery business. Stationery, all your pencil, eraser and all those things. A buys pencil on credit from a wholesaler in the firm's name. So he buys pencil. Stationery business, buying pencil, it is the normal business. Second one, done in the usual way. Generally, he'll buy from the wholesaler, done in the usual way. Third one, it is done in the name of the firm. All three conditions are satisfied. I tell the wholesaler, I am buying the pencil for my office. Second, he'll tell, doing the usual time on credit basis, whatever I buy, I bought from you. Third one, it is done in the name of the firm. But then what does he do? He gives them to the children. Is the firm bound? Yes. So he gives this to his children. Outsiders, I am an outsider. I am the wholesaler. I am selling the pencil to you, thinking that you will use it for business. If you use it to your children, what can I do? I can come and claim my money, right? Because from me as an outsider, three things are satisfied. One, are you a partner? Yes. Second one, are you in stationery business? Yes. Third one, are you buying pencil from me which you anyway would have bought for business? Yes. All conditions are satisfied. So rather than giving it to the business, you have given it to your children. How can I control that, boss? I will tell you, you give me my money. Firm is bound. But can other partners sue this partner for misappropriation of asset? Yes, of course, yes. Siddharthan, your question will be answered in the next part. Without authority, what will happen, we'll see. Same with Gayatri also. Got it? Very simple. Outsider will say, bro, you have taken the business in the name of the firm. Second, it's a usual way. Third one, it's a normal business. I can't help it. If you did not go ahead and do it the right way, I cannot help it. What can I do if you gave it to your children? What can I do? For me, you give me money. Then you fight among yourselves. I don't care. Outsider is always happy. So guys, I again repeat, in the exam, you should write these three things. First is act of the firm. Then normal business, usual way, name of the firm. All the three conditions are satisfied, firm will be liable. Even if one condition is not satisfied, firm is not liable. Clear? So as I told you, in section 19, they have told what all you cannot do as a partner. Because guys, if nothing is written, I will tell everything I can do. Where there is no agreement or partnership agreement is silent, I will tell I can do anything. So law, rather than telling what all you can do, law is telling what are the things that you cannot do. That is better. So section 19, what they have given here in the page number 6, if you see, this is what they have told, guys. Act is telling the things that you cannot do. Act is telling you did not, these are the things that you cannot do. These are the things that you cannot do. Got it? Let's see that. What are the things that you cannot do? Let's see. Rather than telling what you can do, it's better to tell what you cannot do. This is like a Lakshman Rekha. Since you do not know what to do, Act is giving a Lakshman Rekha saying that, boss, as a partner you can do whatever you want, but these things you cannot do. This is the Lakshman Rekha. 19 subsection 2, one by one. In the absence of any usage or custom of trade or to the contrary, implied authority does not enable him. Means these are the things that you cannot do. Submit to arbitration a dispute relating to the business of the firm. Arbitration is an alternate dispute resolution mechanism. Arbitration is an alternate dispute resolution mechanism. Correct? Rather than going to the court, you would have heard this dialogue, no? Out of court settlement. In school and all, when you are fighting, first the teacher used to come, hey, why are you fighting? This is separate. Then we used to go to the main class teacher. And then we used to go to the headmistress. Headmistress used to tell, why? Do both of you shake hands? Correct? Arbitration is an alternate dispute resolution mechanism. Now the beauty about arbitration is it takes less time, that is less than 12 months only. If you go to the normal court, no, it takes years and years. But in arbitration, it takes less than 12 months. But the problem is the cost is very high. You need to pay a lot of money. Actually, normal court mechanism takes 20 years, but the amount every time you have to pay 5,000, 3,000 here, but here you have to pay in lakhs. There will be some 3 to 4 hearings. Per hearing you will have to pay almost, some 1 lakh, 2 lakh like that. So as far as money is concerned, it is higher, on the higher side, arbitration. So now tell me, when a case is going on in the firm without asking others, when a case is going on in the firm without asking others, without even bothering to ask others, can I submit to arbitration without asking other partners on my own and then tell I have the authority to do it? No. So without asking other partners, I do not have the authority to do it. So I cannot submit to resolution, an arbitration, a dispute relating to the business of the firm without asking others. Because if you see implied authority, if you say all authorities I have, if you tell, then tomorrow he can easily submit to arbitration, dispute relating to the firm without asking others. Then when other partners are asking who gave you the authority, I'll tell act, implied authority. That's why act says Lakshman Rekha. These things on the right hand side, without asking other partners, you cannot do. Open a bank account on behalf of the firm in firm's name, okay. Open a bank account on behalf of the firm in partner's own name, so that the firm money is coming to you. Without asking others, can you do it? No. Compromise or relinquish any claim. Relinquish means to give up. You have sued somebody for 10 lakh rupees. You have sued somebody for 10 lakh rupees. That person will come and beg you, sir, 10 lakhs I cannot pay. Let's make full and final settlement, 6 lakh rupees, sir, 4 lakh, please let me go. Without asking other partners, can you take this decision? No. If you take this decision without asking others, other partners can sue you telling who gave you the power to do it. Then you cannot tell, no, implied authority, I can do whatever I want. That's why law beautifully gives a Lakshman Rekha. Compromise or relinquish any claim. Withdraw any suit or proceeding filed on behalf of the firm. Now I have sued somebody, that's the best part. I have sued somebody as a firm. Without asking others, just because I probably, that person came and begged me, I withdrew that suit against him without asking others. Overriding everything and just, withdrawing the suit, not possible. Reverse case, somebody else sued me. Somebody else sued me for 20 lakh rupees. Now I have to admit the liability. I'll tell, I'll pay 20 lakhs. But without asking other partners, I cannot take that decision, guys. I should just tell them, let me get back to my partners, let me talk to my partner and come to you. So withdrawing any suit, admitting any liability, etc., all these things you cannot do without asking other partners. You cannot do without asking other partners. That's why 19 subsection 2 is the Lakshman Rekha, which says, do not cross this. You do not cross this without asking. If they allow you, you cross. If they allow you, you cross. Can I buy an immovable property? I want to buy a building without asking others in the name of the firm. Your personal name, you do whatever you want. Without asking others, can you do it? No. Acquire immovable property on behalf of the firm, not possible. Transfer immovable property belonging to the firm. No. Acquire immovable property, transfer. Acquire means to buy, transfer means to sell. Two partnership firms cannot enter into a partnership, we know. But can individual partners enter? Yes. So when other partnership firm comes and says all of their partners are ready to take up this partnership, you, without asking other partners, can you enter into a partnership saying that if I say everybody will say no. You cannot enter into partnership on behalf of the firm also. So these things you need to remember, guys. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. These are the things that you cannot do without seeking permission. If the partners have given you permission clearly in the partnership deed for you to do all these things, then you can do all these things, no problem. Without permission, you cannot do. This is like the Lakshman Rekha, where you cannot do these things. These are the Lakshman Rekha given by the Act, 19 subsection 2. Rather than the Act telling what all you can do, Act is beautifully telling what you cannot do. Are they completely prohibited? No, you can definitely do it, but with permission from the, what do you say, partners. Did you understand this, guys? Yes or no? Come on, tell me. Yes or no? Are you understanding? I'm going as slow as possible, though it's a revision session, so that these concepts are extremely clear. Great. On the other hand, these are just examples, guys, examples. In the exam, if nothing is given, important point, in the exam, if type of firm is not given, in the exam, if type of firm is not given, always assume it is a trading firm. In the exam, if the type of firm is not given, if type of firm is not given, always assume that it is a trading firm. So now tell me, if I am a partner of a trading firm, generally what all I can do, I don't care about authority. Now you come to me and say, what do you do? I'll say I am the partner of this firm. So what will you assume? Okay, this fellow can buy goods, yeah, he can sell goods, okay, he can hire employees, okay. He can sue outsiders, definitely, right? He can give checks because I'm into trading, so I always have to keep giving checks, etc. These are some of the examples, right? So if you see, those examples I have given on the left hand side. In a trading firm, the following acts are considered to be well within the partner's implied authority. Means I don't have to see the partnership deed for this. Just by talking to you, I'll come to know. Like for example, I can purchase goods, I can sell goods, I can receive payments, I can settle the accounts, I can appoint employees, I can borrow money, I can, whatever goods I have, I can pledge it with you, pledging. I can accept negotiable instrument, I can hire a lawyer. So if you see, for example, this drawing negotiable instrument, like drawing a check. For a trading firm it is possible, for a banking partnership firm it is possible, but if the same is for a firm of lawyers, then it is not possible. So left hand things whatever we have given are the things that you can do easily provided you are a trading firm. But can I say the partnership deed can restrict these items? Means the partnership deed can say Mr. A can only purchase goods worth 1 lakh rupees. Mr. B, who is a partner, can only sell goods worth so and so. Mr. C is the only managing partner who can give checks. Can the left hand column be restricted? Yes. So the left hand column can be restricted by expressly mentioning it in the partnership deed. The left hand column can be restricted by mentioning it in the partnership deed. Siddharthan, your doubt. Remember that doubt in a law firm, in a firm of banking partnership firm, can a partner sign a check without authority? Answer is no. Correct? So the left hand column you can restrict. But for the left hand column, if the partnership deed is silent, then you can do all the items, no problem. You have the power to do all the things. No permission needed. Got it? So the same left hand column, for example, banking partnership firm, signing checks. If that has been restricted only to one partner, they say only the managing partner should do and the others cannot do. So the left hand column is restricted. On the other hand, I told you right hand column is like a Lakshman Rekha, you cannot do these things. But in the partnership deed, if I mention partner A alone can submit to arbitration, others cannot do it. Partner B alone can withdraw the suit. Partner C alone can acquire immovable property. Yes. So can the right hand column be extended? Yes. The right hand column, if partnership deed is silent, you cannot do those things. You cannot do those things. If you want to do those things, if you want to have those rights, expressly we should mention in the partnership deed. So I can write here the right hand column can be extended by an express mention in the partnership deed. Express mention in the partnership deed. Left hand column can be restricted, right hand column can be extended. That is what the next section says. Very simple. See here. Section 20. The partners in a firm may, by a contract between the partners, restrict or extend. The partners in a firm may, by contract between the partners, restrict or extend. Extend or restrict. Did you understand this, guys? Yes or no? Come on. Did you understand this part? Yes. Yeah. So on the basis of 19 subsection 2, if you want to acquire immovable property, generally you can ask all the partners in the firm. But if you want it to give only to one person, if only one person has to do it, then you have to mention it in the partnership deed. You have to mention it in the partnership deed that okay, only this one person is doing it. Very, very simple. So assume I am in a trading firm. Okay, now one more step ahead. Assume that I am in a trading firm. Left hand column. When partnership deed is silent, outsider can assume that you can buy goods, sell goods. Innocent outsider. So there is an innocent outsider. Innocent fellow, papa, poor guy. Ramalingam. Innocent outsider, and this one Khatarnak fellow is there in the firm. KD fellow. Right? This innocent fellow Ramalingam comes to him and say, sir, you are into trading, right? He said, yes. Since he is Khatarnak, no, the other partners have told him, Mr. Khatarnak, you can only sell or purchase goods worth, correct, 50,000. Since they know that he is Khatarnak fellow, they have told him you can only purchase goods worth 50,000. So basically what I am trying to tell is the left hand column has been restricted for Khatarnak. When this guy goes to the outsider and tells, I am the partner, should Ramalingam ask for the partnership deed? No. Partnership deed is a confidential document. Ramalingam cannot ask for partnership deed. But for Ramalingam's point of view, when he is seeing Mr. Khatarnak, he is entitled to assume that Khatarnak has the right to buy and sell the goods any amount. If there is any restriction, Khatarnak should tell Ramalingam, no sir, I can only buy up to 50,000. But Khatarnak fellow did not tell anything to Ramalingam. So Ramalingam sold goods worth 80,000 to Khatarnak when he had the power of only 50,000. Ramalingam purchased or sold it in good faith. One more word of good faith is what? Bona fide. Bon is good, fide is faith. Good faith, bona fide. Now when Khatarnak, time has come for payment, Khatarnak says to Ramalingam, now sir, sorry, I can only pay up to 50,000. So from the firm he releases 50,000. For the remaining 30,000, Ramalingam comes and knocks on the door. The question is the firm liable for the extra 30,000 also? Or Khatarnak has to pay in his individual capacity? What do you think? Should the firm first pay Ramalingam and then sue Khatarnak for exceeding? Or the firm says, it's not my problem, you take from this guy. What do you think? What do you think, guys? Firm should pay Ramalingam. Yes. Firm should definitely pay because it was in good faith. The law also tells the same thing. Since partnership deed is a confidential document, what is written in the partnership deed, nobody knows. From Ramalingam's point of view, you are the partner. If you are the partner, you have the power to purchase. What is the amount you are about to purchase? I don't know. You should tell me. When you didn't tell me and I did it in good faith, concept of mutual agency will come. All of you will be liable. Those two partners, you can sue Khatarnak and you claim that 30,000 rupees. That is not my problem. I am Ramalingam. I am outside. I am a third party. I am an innocent third party. For me, pay me my full 80,000 because of mutual agency. Very simple. Irrespective of such restriction, any act done by a partner on behalf of the firm which falls within the implied authority, any act done by Khatarnak, irrespective of the restriction where he can only purchase 50,000 rupees, irrespective of that restriction, any act selling for 80,000 done by partner, that is that Khatarnak fellow, on behalf of the firm, but it falls within the left column. Falls within the left column. Binds the firm or does not bind the firm? Binds the firm or does not bind the firm? Come on, guys. Binds or does not bind? Binds the firm. There is no magic in law. It is only logic. I don't care if I am doing revision class, regular class, whatever it is, quality will never be down. You will understand everything. Rather than understanding what is the answer, better to understand why the answer came. So definitely binds the firm. Binds the firm, right? Excuse me. Got it, buddies? Very simple. What does it do? It binds the firm. Now, this Ramalingam turned out to be one scam guy. correct? Ramalingam turned out to be full thug life guy. Correct? See how it changes. He was the mastermind behind all these things. His actual name is Fraudalingam. He is no longer innocent. Now what to do? Correct? What do we do? This fellow Fraudalingam and Khatarnak have joined hands, correct, to cheat this guy. What do we do? Will it bind the firm or not? Thank you, Dr. Kameshwaran, I already had. Thank you so much. Will it bind the firm or not? Yes or no? Does it bind or not? It does not bind the firm, because here good faith and all gone. Bona fide has become what? What is the opposite of bona fide? Malified. Not mala and all that. Don't say mala, fide. No. Malified. Malified. Correct? So in this case, what happens? My amazing drawings, guys. Picasso. Right? So what happens? Fraudalingam is liable, and of course, it does not bind the firm because it was a fraud. Then it dash. Binds or does not bind? Does not bind. Does not bind the firm. Means what? The shareholder, these two partners will come to know that this entire thing was a fraud done by them. So when they come to know about this, they will have to sue them back. Correct? That is the thing. So this is regarding whether you are liable, not liable, and all those things. Right? Next. See these two questions here. Quickly solve these two questions. Same answer. Solve it. Firm will, if they get to know later, if firm gets to know later, only then they will sue. If firm does not get to know, nothing can be done. Firm has to get to know, otherwise nothing can be done. Answer, guys. First answer is unaware of the restriction imposed. Who will be liable? Firm. But suppose B was aware of the restriction, then who will be liable? If B was aware of the restriction, who will be liable? Then of course, only Mr. A, the concerned partner. Concerned partner will be liable. So let us say I am in the, we are traders of tomato. We are in tomato trading. So my partners have gone to Kedarnath Yatra. We have gone to the Yatra there, Generally, every time if you see there is some landslide, something happens and people get stuck there. So, I have the power to only sell tomatoes worth rupees, let's say 1 lakh rupees. Beyond that, I do not have authority, I have to ask their permission. My partners are stuck in the Kedarnath Yatra. We have tomatoes worth 10 lakh rupees now, and suddenly there is a drop in the tomato market. 10 lakh tomatoes suddenly become 8 lakh rupees. 2 lakhs wiped out in one day only. I am trying to call my partners, they are stuck in Kedarnath, there is a landslide, phone, nothing, network coverage, outside coverage, I am unable to contact them at all. What do? Next day again, 8 lakhs has become 6.5 lakhs. 3.5 lakh rupees wiped out in 2 days. If I leave one more day, then it will become almost some 2-3 lakh rupees. Basically 7 lakh loss to the firm. Should I forget for a moment that I am a partner, and should I take a decision as if it was my own business to protect the interest of the firm? What do you think? To protect the interest of the firm, should I step into the shoes of all the partners as if I am the sole proprietor? Yes. That concept of having the foresight, correct, to protect the firm as if I would have protected my own, is called as ordinary prudence, normal common sense. These are all the keywords that you need to write. Ordinary prudence. So if you see, in that case, can I protect the firm, guys? Can I go beyond my authority? My authority is just 1 lakh. But in emergency to protect, can I sell it off at 6 lakh rupees, thereby saving my firm loss of at least 6 lakh rupees? Answer is yes. And will it bind the firm? Yes. So same thing, is the firm bound by Excess Act? Yes. Because it was done to protect the interests of the firm. Using concept of ordinary prudence. Using the concept of ordinary prudence. So whenever I give a notice or anything that the acting partner comes to know, then it is like the entire firm coming to know. So if Ramalingam has told something to Katarnak, it's like him telling all the partners. But if Fraudalingam and Katarnak are coming together to do something, committing a fraud, then it doesn't mean that these two people also will know about it. Very simple. In good faith, if you tell one partner also, it's like telling everybody. But in bad faith, if you tell one partner something, hiding it from the other two partners, then you cannot say that the entire firm has come to know about it. Very, very simple. So, to understand all these four concepts, we will do an amazing master chart on section 19, 20 and 21. Shall we? Here is a master chart which covers everything. Let's see. You can write it down here only. First, Abhishek, then Siddharthan, Dhanavarshini, and Setu. These are partners. Right? Yes. Then Karthik is the third party. Karthik is the third party. Okay. Let's take just one partner here to understand. They are in the partnership firm DASS. DAS. Don't tell SADS and all, that will be actually sad. DASS and company. Right? Karthik is the third party. Let's take one partner, Abhishek. Abhishek is the partner. His authority will be what, guys? Either express authority or implied authority. Express authority is given in section number 11. Implied authority is given in section number 19. Express authority can obviously be oral or it can be written. Implied authority, I have to see three things. One, whether it is the normal business of the firm. Normal business of the firm. Second, whether it is done in the usual way. Third one, whether it is done in the name of the firm. Correct? Three conditions. Even if one out of three conditions are not satisfied, even if one out of three conditions are not satisfied, only A, Abhishek, is liable. Yes or no? Why? Firm is not liable. Yeah, copy it in the notes, Abhishek. Even if one out of three are not satisfied, then who is liable? Only Abhishek is liable. Why? Because for firm to be liable, all the three conditions must be satisfied. Correct? Now, coming down. You please copy along with me. I will again show you. Check it out. Check it out. This I have given the gap here, no? Here you need to write down. Page number 7. This gap you have to write. So, partners, authority, express and implied. Express, oral or written, implied, normal business, usual way, name of the firm. Even if one out of three are not satisfied, only Abhishek would be liable. Next, if all three are satisfied here, this one, if I say all three are satisfied, next question I have to ask is, which means it comes in the left hand column. Next question I have to ask is, are restrictions imposed? Are restrictions imposed? Means left hand column, is it restricted? Assume the answer is no. Restrictions are not imposed. Then obviously DASS, firm is liable. DASS, firm is liable. Yes or no? Are you understanding? Left hand column, is there any restriction? No restriction means DASS, firm is liable. Done. Now, next question. Assume if restrictions are imposed. Assume that restrictions are imposed. Next question is, I have to ask whether this third party fellow, what's his name? Karthik. Did the third party, Karthik, know about the restriction? Know about the restriction. Is Karthik like Ramalingam or Fraudalingam is the question. Did the third party Karthik know about the restriction? Ramalingam or Fraudalingam? If Karthik did not know about the restriction, who is liable? DASS, firm is liable. Let us assume that Karthik knew about the restriction. Karthik knew about the restriction. Next question I have to ask, was it a fraud committed by Karthik and Abhishek? Was there a fraud committed by Karthik and Abhishek? If there was a fraud committed, both are liable. Firm is indemnified, compensated. Firm is indemnified or compensated. If it is a no, fraud is not committed by Karthik and Abhishek. But definitely Karthik knew about the restriction, but it's not a fraud. Only Abhishek is liable. Only Abhishek is liable. In all these cases, guys, 1, 2, 3. If it was a emergency, if it was a emergency case where whatever Abhishek, the decision that he took was using ordinary prudence. Yeah, I will drink, guys, thank you. Ordinary prudence and done in the best interest of the firm. Then DASS, firm is liable. This is the master chart. Master chart. Just make it a little full screen for you to understand. Check it out. You will be able to see clearly. That's why I am putting this. Copy. Go through again once. Go through again once. It will be clear. right? Master chart covering all points. I'll just quickly drink water. Yes, very simple, guys. Got it? This is like the super master chart covering all the areas.
So guys, as I told you, without fail, please follow me on unacademy.com/Punarvas Jaikumar. If you don't know what to do, go to any of my videos and check out the link here. Punarvas Jaikumar sir's Unacademy profile. Once you click on that, it will take you here where you will see all my followers. You please follow me and you will see my special classes. Free classes. To enter the class, you just need to put the code PJ Sir Law. If you want a discount, you have to put the code PJ Sir Law. If you want this, you have to just put the code PJ Sir Law. Very, very, very simple, my dear friends. Extremely simple. And also, if you see here, any combo subscription or intermediate plus, and we have the iconic for CA Foundation and intermediate, all you need to do is just pick a plan. And once you say pick a plan, in this referral code, all you need to do is PJ Sir Law and magic. You will get 10% off. So this is all you need to do, my dear friends. Very, very simple. Thank you so much for watching this video, my dear friends. Please, please, please subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell icon, because any important video released by me or any of the educators on this CA Foundation and Unacademy English channel, you will get a notification. Please like this video, share with among your friends, and also please leave your comments in the comment section. If you want to watch any special class of mine on the Unacademy platform, the code is PJ Sir Law. If you want to buy any product, the code is PJ Sir Law to get a 10% discount. Please download the Unacademy Learners app, and in the special class you can also get all the notes as well. You can download. On that note, see you until next time, my dear friends. Love you all. Bye, my CA warriors. Cheers.